Welcome to the League of Women Voters of Wake County Virtual Candidate Forum for the Wake County Board of Commissioners. The League is proud to support voter education and to continue our long history of hosting candidate forums. Wake County is governed by a 7-member Board of Commissioners. The board enacts policies such as the establishment of the property tax rate, regulation of land use and zoning outside municipal jurisdictions, and the adoption of an annual budget. Each commissioner files to run for election within the district where they live, and commissioners are elected countywide and represent and serve all county residents. This means that every voter votes for candidates in all 7 districts. The current fiscal year 2021 budget for Wake County is $1.47 billion. This covers the Wake County Public Schools, Wake Community College, libraries, health and human services, the county contribution to food and nutrition programs, law enforcement, parks, EMS services, elections, and many more programs that we see every day. Today we welcome candidates for District 6, Democrat Shanika Thomas and Republican Karen J. Weathers. District 6 is in the central part of Wake County and includes parts of Raleigh. Both candidates live in District 6. Welcome, Shanika and Karen. Thank you for joining us today. We will ask every candidate for the Board of Commissioners the same questions. The questions will cover a range of issues relevant to the scope of the board. I'd like to verify with you both that you have not received these questions in advance.
I have not.
I have not.
Thank you. You may now have 2 minutes for an introductory statement. Shanika, you may go ahead.
Hello, everyone. My name is Shanika Thomas, and I am a 20-year resident of Wake County. I'm a former Army brat and then an Air Force wife who's committed to making Wake County a better place to live, work, and play for all of us. I have a bachelor's degree in political science and a master's degree in government. I've worked in human resources for a number of years and also in association management. I'm currently the Director of Advocacy and Educational Partnership for Girl Scouts North Carolina Coastal Pines, which is our local Girl Scout council. In this position, I collaborate across 41 counties with community leaders, school boards, superintendents to ensure that we're building female leadership at every level. This has been especially meaningful to me this year as we commemorate the 100th anniversary of the 19th Amendment. I have a heart for service, which is reflected in my community engagement and volunteerism. A few highlights include that I chair the Carr Family YMCA Advisory Board, and I serve on the YMCA of the Triangle Financial Services Committee. I formerly served on the Board Advisory Council for Wake County Public Schools District 1. I chair the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board for the town of Wake Forest, and I serve on the Ligon Middle School and Sanderson High School Business Alliances. Supporting the Wake County Public School System is a top priority for me. Ensuring the resources needed to keep all of our school employees and students safe during the pandemic is important. And most recently, I have had the honor of being appointed by Governor Cooper to serve on the North Carolina Commission on Volunteerism and Community Service, which is a testament to my commitment to our community. I'm excited to be a candidate for the Wake County Board of Commissioners in District 6, and I look forward to today's discussion.
Thank you. Karen, are you ready?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for inviting me today. My name is Karen Weathers, and as you stated, I am running as a Republican for District 6. I am a mother of 2 and a wife for over 15 years to a very lovely, supportive man. He and I both support our local church by Sunday school. We teach Sunday school there. So love working with the children, love working with the kids. My background is within healthcare. So I was in sales and management in healthcare for many, many years. I am also a small business owner in the education sector. So much like Shanika, education is extremely important to me, and what's happening in the school systems today obviously is very important, along with our outliers such as COVID that's going on right now with the pandemic. We have serious challenges that we need to meet in that area. Interests and reasons that I'm running is public safety. public safety is a huge issue today. It has been, and I think will be, unfortunately, for a while. Education, of course, is important, and fiscal responsibility. The only way a county can truly help and take care of their citizens and support their citizens is by being fiscally responsible. So I think that also is extremely important. And of course, taxes and reducing taxes, of course, and being a voice for the people. Much like our country, I think our county is losing the voice of the people, and I'm running to get that back. So I look forward to the discussion today as well. And again, thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you very much. Okay, we move to the question part of the forum, and you will have 2 minutes to answer each question. Here's the first question. We're all living under new pressures and trying to adjust to a new normal. Existing inequalities are more apparent than ever. The public school system recognizes this disparity and has provided students with laptops and hotspots. What strategies are you prepared to offer to help low-income families with children as they navigate and adjust to the pandemic environment? Karen, you may go first.
Thank you. Yes, as Shanika mentioned, as well as myself, education is extremely important and something that we're both concerned about in Wake County. And certainly right now with the pandemic, it is an unusual situation. The public school system has done a great job in such a short period of time putting remote learning together, providing devices. In fact, I believe the current board of commissioners has outlaid $14 million for devices. So there has been infrastructure put in place to help the current school students and their parents. But for an overall solution, we need jobs. We need to increase jobs. We need to get the economy going. We need to support the small businesses so that they can help us support our children and our families. So I think along with our current situation, we need to begin working with getting our economy up and going and running again. That's going to help us get through this situation.
Thank you. Shanika.
Okay, well, my number one goal as a commissioner right now concerning education would be the safety and well-being of our school employees and students. COVID-19 is the greatest public health crisis of our lifetimes, and we need to do everything we can to ensure a thoughtful and data-based approach to reopening schools and ensure a safe learning environment for everyone. I think that I've always believed that there's a need for more nurses and social workers and school counselors in our schools, and I think that students have really been traumatized by the current political climate, all the economic changes, this public health crisis. And so there's a need for medical and emotional care, and has increased substantially beyond even what we needed previously. I think we should ensure that Wake County has the funding that it needs for safe learning environments, for retention, technology, like you mentioned, and also those school health professionals. I was very proud to see the decision to raise the minimum salary for bus drivers last year to $15 an hour. Just like the Wake County government has implemented a living wage, all Wake County employees should also be paid a living wage, because there's so much that they're having to deal with right now between virtual learning, like you said, the laptops, which are still being distributed across our county. All students don't have those yet. So I'm really looking forward to being an advocate for our public schools in those respects.
Thank you. Okay, the next question. We expect many people will be facing a housing crisis in the next few months due to evictions or foreclosures resulting from high unemployment and the economic crisis we face in Wake County. How do you propose to address what will become the dire need for emergency and for longer-term affordable housing in our community? Shanika, you may go first.
Okay, well, like you mentioned, Wake County is experiencing an affordable housing crisis, as the entire nation is, and we definitely need more homes across all affordability ranges to address the supply and the demand. I see home ownership as a means of facilitating generational wealth, and I'm going to work to create those opportunities for people who would like to be a part of the American dream and own their own home. I think that it was in maybe 2016 or 2018 that we had a housing referendum, and last year we added 700 new units of affordable housing built around the area mean income. The housing department has been a partner. The Wake Housing Department, DHIC has been a housing partner, and so has CASA, C-A-S-A. And so for me, I really believe that we have partnerships, we reach out to the community, we look at what the home builders can do so that people can afford housing. Again, it is part of the American dream to own your own home. And I personally have a young adult son, and as he enters the workforce, it was really difficult. So I've experienced it firsthand, the ability of him being able to get housing, afford housing, just since he's just entering the workforce. So it is something I am committed to working towards.
Thank you. Karen?
Yes, thank you. I agree. Affordable housing is extremely important, but I would look at a different way to help solve those issues. We need to look for new ideas. And one of the things that's happened with COVID, yes, I agree. We're probably going to have housing shortages in addition to the shortages we were already going to have. So the problem is, how do we solve this? Well, we're going to have, because of COVID, we're going to have industries and where people aren't going to go back to work. They're not going to go back to the physical locations, right? So in fact, HUD, the federal government, is actually looking at ways we can use these facilities and these buildings to provide maybe temporary short-term housing or even long-term housing. And I think working in the public, with the public sector, because remember, it's the public sector that's going to have these warehouses and these buildings that are available for refurbishing. Because if they don't have anyone there that's renting them, you know, they're not making any money. So it will be a great collaboration between the government, the commission, and private industry to use these facilities in order to move forward with our public housing disparity. We could actually have a great partnership to make that happen. And also, we need to work on taxes and our debt, because if we bring taxes down, you know, when you're renting, if, you know, the person that owns the home is going to raise your rent if their taxes are raised. So we need to reduce taxes in order to bring rent down so that it does become more affordable as well. That is also extremely important in the housing arena.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to the third question. Recent events have highlighted community pressures on the resources devoted to public safety and law enforcement. This can show up in how the criminal justice system operates, how law enforcement officers operate in the public schools, and in other interactions in our community. Do you feel that improvements need to be made or that funding needs to be reevaluated? Karen, you may go first.
Thank you. If funding was going to be reevaluated in the public safety arena, I would feel that that would be one place that we would need to increase that currently. You know, with the riots that have occurred, we've had a lot of damage to our facilities in downtown. That is distressing for all of us, right? We want to live in a safe, thriving community. And, you know, we love public protests. We love to speak our minds. That's what we need to do. That's what we were founded on. Free speech is fantastic. It is one of our founding principles. However, riots and the damage that that's causing is not. So public safety, in order, you know, across the country and even in Wake County, we need to focus on that, working with the communities to rebuild and to make sure that our public safety for all of us citizens is a top priority.
Thank you. Shanika.
Okay, so I guess I'm just gonna go right to it. Black Lives Matter. So Black Lives Matter really began as a Twitter hashtag in 2013, following the acquittal of George Zimmerman for the shooting death of the Black teenager Trayvon Martin, right? So it came into public view a few years later with the shooting death of another Black teen, Mike Ferguson, by a Missouri police officer. And so then Black Lives Matter became associated with both the movement to address what we believe to be law enforcement's excessive use of force and the rioting in Ferguson after Mike Brown's death. So recently, the movement's gained momentum since the death of George Floyd at the hands of Minneapolis police officers. So I'm not an advocate of literally defunding the police, but I would like to change the way that public safety is addressed. What people are saying and what I'm saying is that if we invested more money into the communities, we invested more time into communities, maybe we wouldn't have to fund the police the way we do. And it would also make the police's job easier. Everybody knows that there are times when we need police. So Black Lives Matter is not anti-police. It's not even anti-policing, it's anti-police brutality. And so I am absolutely for police and public safety, because again, we all want to live in thriving, safe environments that have access to open spaces and that our children feel safe in. But I think that we need to look at different ways of training and different ways of addressing that.
Thank you. All right, moving on to our next question. Wake County has invested a lot of time and money in improving our public transportation system. What do you think that system is going to look like in the next few years? How can we best benefit from the investment and capital commitments that have been made already? And Shanika, you may go first.
Okay, well, just like we talked about COVID being a public health crisis, I believe that transportation is also a public health crisis. When we look at the cost of housing, the second highest cost a person has is going to be transportation. You could spend between $7,000 and $9,000 a year between car insurance, maintenance, taxes, those kinds of things. And so when we're looking at people who are underemployed or unemployed, I believe that transportation is also a public health crisis. So you asked about some of the things that you mentioned, that there are things that have already been done, and I agree. We talked about the transit bond, and there's also, in the future, we've got bus rapid transit, so we're looking at light rail, and I believe that light rail is going to extend from Clayton through Raleigh, Morrisville, north of Capitol, so it's going to encompass the triangle, so all the municipalities. It's not just about the city of Raleigh, it's about the entire county and the triangle. And we also have to remember, in talking about public health crisis, that COVID has reduced the sales tax revenue, so it's going to extend the time for implementation of some of the transit plans that we already have in place.
Thank you. Karen? Yes,
thank you. Shanika, you are absolutely right on key with the loss in revenue. It's probably going to be close to a $29 million shortfall. That's significant. Where are we going to find that money? We're going to have to work with the small businesses and get the economy going again. As far as transportation, absolutely, there have been plenty of, you can look at the Wake County Commission website on the wakecounty.gov website, and you can see that they've talked about all the transit plans, and we've put a lot of infrastructure in place, Miriam, as you said. All of that is fantastic. Light rail, however, I am in disagreement with light rail and would not fund that. We, at this point, with the debt that we have in this community and in Wake County, we cannot afford to go with light rail. However, our busing routes, especially with the affordable housing, where the developments are going, to make sure that those routes and those infrastructures are taken care of and provided for, are absolutely essential. However, again, at this point, even with COVID, I don't think that light rail, with the revenue shortfall and the debt that we already have in place, which is, we're paying $300 million a year for our debt. 98 million of that is going directly to interest. We can't afford light rail at this point.
All right, thank you. And this is going to be our fifth and last question. Wake County provides vital health services to the community as we sit currently with pandemic testing and tracing. Another example is the Wake County Infant Mortality Work Group, which reported this year on the very high death rate of African-American mothers and babies. How will you protect the budget devoted to such vital health services as you are forced to confront the financial pressures from decreased tax revenues? What programs and resources should the County Commission direct to help vulnerable populations? Karen, you may go first.
Yes, thank you, Miriam. Again, the infant mortality rate in certain populations of our community is certainly tremendous, and one death is too many. So we do need to focus on that, and the Commission has put budgets out there in place. Of course, we have Medicaid that's in place. Of course, hospitals in emergency situations need to have to provide care as well. So we do have things in place that are going to help these mothers. But one of the things, the top two things I think that are going to help them, is education and jobs. education and jobs, because with jobs, you have money to support your family. You have money to get that nutrition. Getting them back in school, education is going to get them back to the meal plans. It's going to support them with their socialization, all the things that you need to have a vital citizen in Wake County, you're going to get from jobs and education. You're going to get, again, health insurance from the jobs that you create. So helping people get the health care they need through jobs and education is the way we're going to grow and overcome this situation.
Thank you. Shanika.
So for me, Wake County Wake County Human Services is the county's largest department, and it oftentimes interfaces with our most vulnerable residents at their most difficult times. And so we've talked about several times here that we're facing our worst public health crisis of our lifetimes. So ensuring that we're there for residents in need is a top priority. When you talk about health disparities and you talk about infant mortality, I think you also have to talk about evictions and foreclosures and the need for housing. So the county really needs to step up and ensure that people who've made Wake County what it is get to stay in Wake County and enjoy all that it has to offer. We need to make sure that people are housed. We need to make sure that we combat food insecurity, because I think all of those lead to some of the health disparities. One of the other things, when you talk about communities of color and communities that have health disparities and food insecurities, as an Army brat, I'm concerned about the state of our veterans, and I want to make sure that we put them on a path to success. Our veterans have served this country, and I look forward to serving them, especially as we talk about insecurities, whether that's food insecurity, work insecurity, or housing insecurities. And so I believe that that has a lot to do with the health and welfare of our county as well.
Thank you. All right. Thank you to the candidates for coming today to participate in our virtual candidate forum. We recognize that running and serving in elected office is a considerable commitment of time, energy, and often sacrificed opportunities. The League, along with the residents of Wake County, is grateful that we have so many capable fellow citizens who are willing to step forward to serve the important duties as a member of the Wake County Board of Commissioners. You have 2 minutes each to make a closing statement. Shanika, please go ahead.
I was muted. Okay.
I know.
I was like,
you can start over.
I got a notification. Okay, here we go. So my name is Shanika Thomas, and I pledge to continue to support and enhance the Wake County Board of Commissioners' efforts regarding funding education, including early childhood development, a strong K-12 school system, and Wake Tech, which of course is our largest community college system in the state. We must continue to push the envelope when it comes to addressing affordable housing, food insecurities, and ensuring a sustainable economic environment. And I believe that creating paths for upward mobility and ensuring opportunities for everyone is critical to the success of all of our residents. We need to be a part of the process to restore our economy and get people back to work safely. Wake County has set the standard when it comes to being a model employer, having earned the Triangle Business Journal's Healthiest Employer Award, and recently voting to raise the minimum wage for election staff to $11 an hour. And I hope that this is an incremental step towards elections officials getting paid $15 an hour, and that the other counties across the state will follow our lead. Wake County's also recently become the first county to recognize Juneteenth as a paid county holiday. That said, there's still much to do to ensure that we're welcoming our community and make it clear that we stand against discrimination in any form. My life experiences have led to this decision to seek your vote for Wake County Commissioner. Our government should reflect the people it serves, and I stand ready to lead. I'm not a politician. I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a volunteer, and an active member of my community, committing to vote in a manner that ensures critical investment in our schools, our most vulnerable residents, and ensuring the quality of life that makes us all love Wake County. With a leave no one behind approach, I believe that a rising tide of wealth and opportunities in this county should lift all of us. I'll be accessible and available to listen with a humbleness often lost in politics today. Again, my name is Shanika Thomas, and it would be my greatest honor to earn your vote to be the next District 6 Wake County Commissioner.
Thank you. Karen?
Yes, hi, I'm Karen Leathers, and Shanika had the volume problems. My dogs are in the background, so hopefully you guys can hear me over that. So We're all working through this together today. But what I'd like to say is, I would like to run and serve you, the voter and the taxpayer and the citizen of Wake County. In order to do that and for us to grow together, we need to understand that fiscal responsibility is our top priority. And the commission has raised taxes, has not reduced their spending. That's not feasible. We are leaving a debt for our children that is insurmountable. Now, all the things that we've talked about today are extremely important, and I think that we can find solutions to all of them. But in order to do that, we have to start with our fiscal responsibility. If you have money put away for a rainy day, something such as COVID and a pandemic here in Wake County, you're in a much better situation than if you're in debt. Debt will not allow you to have the resources you need to support the citizens. So I think on the commission, number one priority is fiscal responsibility. Supporting public safety is number two. Supporting education is certainly important. And of course, along with the finances and the fiscal responsibility, we need to work on our budgets. We need to reel the budgets in. A $1.47 billion budget for 1,100,000 people is astronomical. We need to cut our spending. We need to reel in our budget. And I would really appreciate your support and would love to serve you here in Wake County. Thank you so much.
Thank you to both candidates. We close our forum now. Be sure to go to vote411.org to learn more about the candidates on your ballot and to learn the latest information on polling place hours and locations. Thank you for joining us.